Good evening, good morning, pardon me, ladies, gentlemen, days, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Happy Valentine's Day Eve. I hope all of you are having a great start to your week. Hopefully, you're staying out of trouble. If you have a significant other, I hope that y'all get to spend some time together and just reflect on your relationship and just enjoy each other's company and all that fun stuff. Myself, I'm going to just watch movies with my partner um, tomorrow and hang out for cats. It's going to be a very relaxing day. um, Back when I was single, because I know that Valentine's Day, if you're single, it can be a little rough. But what I would say, for those of you who are single, take yourself out, do something fun for yourself. I remember years ago when I first moved to Nevada, I took myself out for like a nice steak dinner. Wanted to feel good, so I got dressed up, grabbed a couple drinks, got some work done for the podcast. I did a double feature, and I bought myself I think I bought myself like a new like a LED keyboard or something like that. So I treated myself. So just because you're single, or if you're doing long distance or what have you, doesn't mean it needs to be a sad day. But if you're not loving on someone else, love on yourself, because you're amazing and you matter. So take some. So I hope you all get to go ahead and find a little bit of peace, a little bit of relief in these insane times that we live in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it kind of brief today for the stream. Going to go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl and talk about the commercials and the trailers and some of that other stuff. So as far as the game itself, pretty boring until like the third quarter, almost like around the 8 minute mark of the third quarter. Both teams just looked, both defenses looked fucking fantastic. Oh my god! Just as a sports nerd, Nick Bosa was putting in that work. Him and Chase Young on the 49ers side of the ball, they looked fantastic. They were amazing. It was actually really cool to see them putting pressure on Mahomes, and Isaiah Pacheco couldn't get anything really going for that first half, including having that fumble down in the red zone. Like it was looking really good for the 49ers for that first half. I think Brock Purdy looked focused. I think he looked pretty relaxed. But what ended up happening in the second half is that Nick Bolton and Nick Bolton. I think it's Nick Bolton. I can never remember if it's Bolton or Bold. Okay, I was right. Nick Bolton and Chris Jones on the 49ers side of the ball ended up getting more pressure on Purdy, making that pocket move, collapsing the pocket, and really forcing him into some quicker throws than I think he wanted to make. I think Brock Purdy. I think we forget that this is really only his second season. They of course lost him last year in the NFC Championship game, which it's very interesting. What if Purdy doesn't get hurt? Do the 49ers, is this their second time in a row going to a Super Bowl? I would probably lean yes, because I think that Eagles defense, they were able to focus in on McCaffrey, but Purdy was looking good against the Eagles before he got injured. But the second half, it was all Chiefs. And the big thing that I think that a lot of people have pointed out is that if you get one of these dynasty teams down, if like a team like the Patriots, like the Chiefs, like the Lakers, like the Warriors, if you get them down, you have to step on their necks and you have to end it. You can't let them hang around or lollygag. Like, you need to go ahead and put the kibosh on it. And unfortunately, they let Mahomes hang around, and let Mahomes hang around. That never ends well, typically, for teams. And Mahomes got it going in that back half, especially in that fourth quarter. He looked fantastic. I mean, just able to step up in the pocket, extend plays. I know he's not Lamar Jackson, but Mahomes is a really skilled fucking runner. Like people, I think forget about that aspect of his game. I think people forget about that. I think people forget about that a lot, and so it was actually really cool to see Mahomes kind of start to get it going. But the back half was a lot more entertaining than the first half. I had a lot of fun with it. It was really sad and quite fucked up, actually, to see that 49ers players were saying that they didn't know the rules of overtime. For me, I would have kept that ball. There's no way I give Mahomes the ball second to me. I want to go ahead, I want to go ahead and be the one to set the tone. I thought that was a really, really dumb decision. Yeah, why do you do that? How do you not have your team? It's like the Cowboys, how they didn't know the rules about spiking the ball for clock management. Like, how do you not know these rules about overtime going in? And it really comes back to Kyle Shanahan, as far as the whole kind of never the brides, always the bridesmaid mentality, which so it's frustrating as a football fan because you want to see a great game, and I think that in the back half we did get a great game, but man, it really, to lose in overtime like that. Mahomes figured it out. Mahomes is just special, and obviously you're gonna have those people because he's a black quarterback, and let's be real, there's always been a narrative in the NFL around the black quarterback about how, we're not quick enough to process the playbook and be able to actually be successful at the position. And Mahomes is quickly becoming the Michael Jordan of the NFL. Like he just finds ways to win. I think a lot of people, and I know people there, who grew up with LeBron, so he's their GOAT. He's not, by the way. But people who grew up with LeBron, people who grew up with Kobe. The thing about Kobe, especially in his later years, rest in peace to the Mamba, is that even when his legs started to go and he just couldn't elevate the way he used to, he would still be able to turn on and dunk every so often, but he started using the fadeaway a lot more. He became more efficient jump shooter. And same thing with Jordan when his knees, started to go. He, the fadeaway became his shot. Even if he was facing someone straight up, he would still fade away. And Mahomes is finding these different ways to win. The Chiefs led the league in fucking drops this past season, and they still found a way to win. It's pretty wild. You had Nicole Hardman, you had what's his name, Marquez Valdez Scantling from a former Packer. Travis Kelce didn't really get going until that fourth quarter. So I mean, but they just hung around, and also the 49ers shot themselves in the foot quite a few times. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey had that early on fumble, which by no means helped, but that muff punt that they had, and like the Chiefs scored like 90 seconds later, I think that was in the third quarter. They had multiple chances to go ahead and put the kibosh on the Chiefs, and they just couldn't get it done. So I'm not going to sit here and go, well, you got to look at. I mean, I think if he doesn't win it next year, I do think you have to look at Kyle Shanahan and wonder if he is going to be that guy for y'all. I do think Brock Purdy. It's just, I don't know. I like Brock Purdy. I think his story is fucking fantastic. I'd take Brock Purdy in a game for my life right now over a Dak Prescott. I'll tell you right now. And Purdy's not getting paid even close to what Dak is getting paid. So, but you do have to ask the question, with George Kittle, with Christian McCaffrey, with Deebo Samuel, with Brandon Ayuk, like with these weapons, if you can't get it done, to change at quarterback because I don't think that being just a good or even like maybe lower grade quarterback is enough. You might need to have an elite quarterback to get it done. And in the NFC with Jalen Hurts, with Dak Prescott, and I'm not saying that Dak Prescott's elite because he definitely isn't, but with the Jalen Hurts, with Jordan Love, with Jared Goff, with Matt Stafford, these guys who have at least gotten to who have had success. Do you need that next tier of quarterback to go ahead and get you over the hump? I don't really know. So it's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do in the offseason. I think they got away from the running game too. I think in that third quarter, they really should have been pounding the football. I know Christian McCaffrey, I think, had like 22 rushing attempts overall, but I still don't think that's enough. I mean, this is the last game of the season. It's the most important game of the season. I would have given McCaffrey, honestly, probably 40 rushing attempts. But I don't, I didn't really see a lot of like quarterback draws. I didn't see, not quarterback draws. I didn't see, any like draw plays out of shotgun to McCaffrey. I didn't really see any like pitches or any counters or anything like that. Like something that I think would have allowed him to go ahead and utilize his ability to go ahead and operate and get yards after the catch. I think, running McCaffrey out of the flat too would have helped again to go ahead and give him some space. I don't think they use McCaffrey enough. And Kittle, I think only had like 3 receptions, I want to say. Actually, let me look that up actually real quick because I'm actually curious. Kittle had 2 receptions for 4 yards. That's insane to me. Christian McCaffrey had 8 receptions for 80 yards and a touchdown. But again, a lot of that was yards after catch. But it's like, dude, Kittle is one of your best weapons. Like, you got to get him involved. I want to shout out, I think this is how you say it, Juwan Jennings, who went for 4 and 42 and a touchdown. But he is like I don't think he's a rookie, but he's like he's very like lower on the depth chart. But I thought he had a really solid game. I really was going for the 49ers, not just because there's been so much like Taylor Swift crap attached to the Chiefs. It's annoying me. But as someone from California, I was like, oh, come on. And I think it would have been a cool story to see, this last quarterback taken in the draft go ahead and finish his story off. I think that would have been really cool. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. So what are you gonna do? But I thought it was a fun game. Like I said, it really did pick up in that second half. But that first half, I was sitting here like, damn, can y'all do something? This is the most important game of the year. Get it going. Pardon me. But yeah, it was a fun Super Bowl. Speaking of the Super Bowl, the halftime show headlined by Usher. So one thing, it's got to date myself here. I still remember when 8701 came out. That would have been my, oh God, I'm old. My freshman year in high school, and I remember, You Remind Me and, You Got It Bad. And I think what people forget about Usher is that once you start going down the list of Usher's stuff, it's pretty insane how much shit Usher has as far as bangers. Like, it's kind of banger after banger when you go through Usher's catalog. I mean, Love in This Club, Caught Up, Oh My God, My Boo, Yeah, You Don't Have to Call, Confessions, Burn. I was bummed he didn't bust out My Way. I won't lie. I was like, damn. I was like, that would have been cool. But I'm an OG fan. But I really dug the hell out of the halftime show, and it continues to streak between Rihanna's halftime show and the Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick, Snoop, Fiddy, and the Eminem halftime show, where I just went, man, these Black excellence halftime shows, and that's really what they've been, have been off the fucking charts. And between the pageantry of Usher's performance, the way they like lit up the stage and everything, down to the costume change that he went ahead and did, going to the like the all black with the kind of like the royal blue accent with the custom Jordans, like, which were clean, by the way. I thought Usher put on a hell of a performance. The people, it's so fucking funny, the pettiness of people. Like, Alicia Keys missed that one fucking note. I think that's the first time I've heard her miss a note her career. Like, I've followed Alicia Keys' career pretty closely because I'm a big fan of hers. I'm not crazy about like this kind of back half of Alicia Keys, but Songs in A Minor is legit, I think, one of the best debut albums that's ever been produced. I think the fact that it didn't win Album of the Year is beyond absurd to me. I don't even know what won that year. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, but it was funny to see Usher, put his hand on Alicia. I'm just like, oh my God, Usher's shameless, y'all. Like, but if you listen to his Club Shay Shay interview, Usher has no shame. And honestly, I respect the shit out of it, because it takes, like, I would rather have someone look me dead in the face and say, yeah, I'm an asshole, than someone be shady about it. Like, Usher will tell you he will fuck your girl and feel no ways about it except glee. And for him to admit it, it's like, okay. He wrote an album called Confessions. Like, what the fuck do you think Usher's gonna do? So yeah, I wasn't surprised at all, and it made me laugh. I went, this is on brand. Why is anyone surprised? But between the marching band with Yeah, which I thought was expertly done, that was so cool, and the way that each song really did kind of blend into the next song as far as the melody, I thought it was a great halftime show. I thought it was a fucking great halftime show. Loved it. And then the last thing I wanted to bring up here, let me see here. Where was it? So Megyn Kelly, fucking bitch, she had this huge gripe about the Black national anthem being played before the Super Bowl, which was performed by oh my God, I'm blanking on who did it, but it was Andra Day. There we go. Because she went ahead and she did Lift Every Voice and Sing. So can we just say too that the national anthem, just as a song, honestly, like it's not a great song. I don't know, like you're never gonna be on a walk on your walking trail and go, man, I want to listen to the national anthem. Like, it's not like a banger song. But for people to this is what drives me nuts. We're in the middle of Black History Month, the shortest month of the year, might I add, and you've got people bitching about Black anthem getting played. It's like, can y'all give us a month? Like, can you give us the full 29 days to actually appreciate our Blackness? Wow, like goddamn, like, get back to this bitching on March 1st. Can you give us 29 days to appreciate being Black, even though we're constantly shot in the streets and being yelled at and having our art devalued? Like, can you give us 29 days to celebrate ourselves? Like, can you do that, please? Like, why am I even saying please? Like just like, give us the fucking 29 days. And Megyn Kelly, God, what she tweeted, the so-called Black National Anthem. It's not even so-called. It is the Black National Anthem. The so-called Black National Anthem does not belong at the Super Bowl. We already have a national anthem, and it includes everyone. If the national anthem included everyone, Black people would be treated fairly. And we're not. So fuck you. That's why we have a Black National Anthem. That's why we have Black History Month, because you are constantly... You're actually making it harder now to teach Black history. So fuck you. Like the people who are complaining about it, go fuck yourselves. And that includes Megyn Kelly and all the pundits who think like her. I wanted to address that because I've seen some people kind of go like, I don't know if I want to talk. Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah, fuck you, Megyn Kelly. Goddamn. But outside of that, Reba went ahead and performed. So I really like Reba McEntire. I'm a big fan of hers. I think we all have our our comfort shows. One of my cats, Milo. He's this orange and white adorable kitty. You see him right underneath my camera there. That's basically what it looks like. He's adorable, but he's very much an iPod or an iPad kitty, a very much tech kitty. So we put on Bob's Burgers for him on a sleep timer when he's getting ready for bed, because he actually tucks himself into bed. It's adorable. But everyone has their comfort shows. I would say for myself, like Just Shoot Me's one, Married with Children's one, Will and Grace is one, It's Always Sunny is one. Oh gosh, what else? I know I'm forgetting shows. Ted Lasso's one. But all that to say, I just find it funny. I really do just find it funny that people have the nerve to get so upset about this about the Black National Anthem when we're putting out rap music or any other sort of media. People are so quick to consume it, but oh no, that Black National Anthem, we can't have that. Just you don't want us to take a knee. You don't want us, like, what do you want us? I mean, I know what you want us to do. You just want us to say nothing, but I digress. So yeah, I want to talk about this too. Those as far as the commercials, there was nothing that was like super awesome, really, outside of a couple commercials. The the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck getting together that Boston boy group or boy band, whatever. That was fantastic, and I love Ben Affleck being fucking shameless about Dunkin' Donuts. And I gotta say, is that all it takes? Like, do I just need to start simping for brands that I love? Like, do I need to mention the brand who makes this pipe? I mean, I'll do that. Is that all it takes to go ahead and get a sponsorship deal? Because goddamn, like, Affleck is leaning into the Dunkin' Donuts stuff, and I think that's fucking great. I think that there's nothing more attractive and fun than someone who can laugh at themselves. And Affleck was such a joke after Geely. I think people forget how much he was just just shat on after making Geely. Of course, which he made with Jennifer Lopez. And I think it's really funny. I think it's really cool that he's been able to bounce back and became an amazing director. I mean, just off of Argo in The Town alone, Affleck has proven to be probably a better director than an actor, to be honest. But Affleck is excellent, and it's very funny to see him make fun of himself. That's the most I've maybe ever liked Tom Brady. Like, I actually found Tom Brady to be funny in that commercial, and even Matt Damon going, how do you like them donuts? Had me fucking rolling. I had a blast. I had a blast with that commercial, but for the most part, every other commercial, the Michael Cera one for oh god, I'm blanking on the product. I gotta look this up. Sarav, I think that's how I say it. I actually use that. I actually use their face wash, and it's actually pretty good stuff. But that commercial, especially the part where he talks to the way to the oh my gosh, it's not a whale. Y'all know the manatee. I can't. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But that part in the commercial was really fucking funny. But yeah, there's just some weird commercials. That Uber commercial with like the peanut allergy. That was a weird one. I did like the State Farm one with the Schwarzenegger as far as him pronouncing things incorrectly. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, for the most part, no commercials that were really fun. I will say too, I always laugh at those Bud Light commercials because the concept that Bud Light's gonna make your night that much better is such a crock of shit. Like they couldn't even go Bud Light Platinum. There's like, nope, Bud Light, just straight Bud Light. Just come on. Like I would really love if Keystone Light would just start spoofing those commercials. Because if you've ever had Keystone Light, and I'm sure if you've ever played beer pong in college, you have Keystone Light. Yeah, fucking gross. But I laughed pretty hard at that Bud Light commercial just for the irony's sake. I was going to talk about the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. I'm probably going to do that as a separate thing because I want to go ahead and kind of deep dive to the breakdown of it. What I will say is I think Deadpool's definitely meeting Loki. And that's the one thing I will say, but I'll get more into why I think that's going to be the case in my full trailer breakdown. Because I want to do a whole separate thing for the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer breakdown. But as far as other movies, it was a short trailer or a short TV spot. I'm so happy Jordan Peele is producing Monkey Man. I'm so hyped to see that. Dev Patel looks like an absolute badass. I cannot wait to see that movie. And looks like he directed the shit out of it too. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes looks fantastic. I love those. I love those fucking movies so much. That's one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I'm a little concerned that they're doing more, but I just have to trust that there's a story that's going to justify them continuing it. It's set 300 years. I think it's 300 years after War of the Planet of the Apes, so that's good as far as giving it some distance from the last things that we saw. So I'm real excited. I'm real excited to check that out. And then of course, even though we didn't get a trailer or anything for it, Dune Part 2 is out. I think what's it next month? I think Dune Part 2 is out. So I mean, yeah, March 1st. Shit, that's goddamn, that's coming up quick. So I think I reviewed Dune for the channel. I might re-review it. Just because I want to rewatch it anyway. But yeah, I'm excited for Dune Part 2. I'm gonna be seeing that with my friend Alyssa, who's a giant fucking nerd for Dune. I'm excited. So I enjoyed Dune. I wasn't in love with it. I didn't think it was like the greatest thing ever. I think I saw it, so I am gonna definitely give it another chance and go check it out. I'm gonna try to go see Dune Part 2 in IMAX. I'm gonna try to go see it on the biggest screen possible. It's almost, I think they said it's 3 hours, which, goddamn. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited for nerds of the property, and I hope that it checks all the boxes for y'all. But yeah, overall Super Bowl commercials were just pretty, eh. Oh, what was that one commercial I wanted to bring up that was really crap? Oh yeah, that Popeyes commercial. I like Ken Jeong, but that was just a weird ass commercial. There just seemed to be a lot of that this year. Just a lot of stuff that felt ill, not just ill time, but just felt like, why are we doing this? Like, did no one have a better idea? So, yeah, it's fine, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead and refill my coffee. I'm gonna take a quick break, and then I will be back with my thoughts on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So be right back, y'all. All right, welcome back, y'all. So my review today is my reviews from Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which is created by the man, the myth, the living legend. That is Donald Glover. God, Donald Glover's awesome. So I will say I was gonna watch the original Mr. and Mrs. Smith, um, which I feel like I've seen it. Like I know I've seen it, but I'm sitting here like thinking about it, and I could not tell you anything about it outside of Angelina Jolie looks hot in it and Brad Pitt looks hot in it. Like I really couldn't tell you anything else about it. I remember Vince Vaughn being in it for some reason, but I feel out for a lot of Vince Vaughn stuff. But to say that I was intrigued going into this would be an understatement. Um, I haven't reviewed it yet, but I'm going to review an episode or two of Atlanta for the Black Cinema Showcase before the end of the month. I'm a huge fan of Atlanta. I'm a huge fan of Community. That was the other show I was thinking of as a comfort show. Community. There we go. But I love Donald Glover. I've loved Donald Glover since like I think the Royalty mixtape was the first time I was like, okay, this dude is awesome. And of course that like Camp and because the internet, Childish Gambino has been a godsend to music. I fucking love Childish Gambino, but to see Donald Glover taking on like the spy genre, I was like, okay, this is intriguing. And it was interesting because it was going to be him. Originally, it was going to be him and what's her name, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, as Jane. And Glover came out recently and kind of said like, there are two. You can't have two sharks working together. I'm somewhat paraphrasing, but basically, it seemed like he was saying like you can't have two alphas on this show and make it work. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I'm a huge fan of Fleabag. I think that's a brilliant show. But I'll be the first to admit, after seeing her in Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, I really was like, man, I don't think this would fit. I don't think this universe would fit with her in it. And so they went ahead and pivoted and went ahead and got Maya Erskine to go ahead and be Jane, who from Wine Country, currently Blue Eye Samurai, and Pen 15. She also was in this. She was also one of those. I don't know if y'all remember, but when Prime Video was starting to really actually care about content and kind of were kind of dipping their toes into it. She went ahead and did this the show that was very much a Big Bang Theory ripoff. I think it was called like Betas, and I think it lasted like a season. But she ended up doing that, and but I remember seeing her in that, going, "Man, I actually think that she's got potential." Well, I was like, I really like her natural charisma. She also did this great rom-com with Jacques Quaid called Plus One, which if you haven't seen it, you definitely should. But going into this, seeing the first trailer, I was lucky enough to get a screener for the full season back in, oh god, I think I got like first week of January. I think I got it. And so I was really excited to go ahead and binge the show. And I'm gonna keep spoilers light here because it did just come out a couple weeks ago. But what a fucking surprise. And I mean that as like the biggest compliment. Donald Glover and Stephen Glover, they just get TV. They just get how to make this shit work. And there are a lot of people on Twitter who are going, "Oh, why are they?" So here's the other thing: why the all of a sudden huge "don't remake Mr. and Mrs. Smith" like fan club? Like I understand that Hollywood is very lazy in terms of, "Oh, this is a property, we'll remake it," but who the fuck has this affiliation, this deep love for Mr. and Mrs. Smith? I never heard people bring this fucking movie up. I would have more people bring up Spy than Mr. and Mrs. Smith. By the way, Spy, directed by Paul Feig, starring Melissa McCarthy. Spy is fucking amazing. Spy is much better than Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the movie. But this sudden love for people who are like, oh God, two minorities starring in this? No, thank you. Like it was really fucked to just see people have that stance and go, up, it's two people of color. Mr. and Mrs. Smith goes woke, waka waka waka, that bullshit. So it really did my heart good to see a lot of people on Twitter having to eat crow because this show is fucking fantastic. And one thing I will say about the show, about the just out the box, is it's 8 episodes, and every episode is paced like a part of a relationship. So what I really like about how this starts is that the agency that they go ahead and work for, that John and Jane work for, they're very precise, but they're very thorough. So the first episode even starts with them like putting their asking for fingernail clippings, and them dropping this machine, and the machine just asking them questions back and forth, like very much like a job interview. Like, are you willing to relocate? What's the worst thing about you? What's something you can improve on? Just going down this going down this line of questioning, and it's really quite fascinating. And the more the show goes on, it really does make you ask yourself these questions as far as how you would react being in this situation. John and Jane really out the box are just straight up lying to each other. But at the same time, if you were in a situation where you're a spy and you have to be dependent on someone else to an extent because you're going on these missions together, how much do you actually tell the person? How much of it is you? How much is the facade of being a spy? I thought the show did a great job of asking these questions, and at some points answering them, but potentially leaving some unanswered, I think, for a very for very important reasons. Donald Glover, it's really funny because we think of him from Community, from Atlanta. But one thing about Glover is that he's been smooth, like really since he's hit his Gambino, like really, I think since he put out 3005, I think Glover's had this confidence and the suaveness to him, where it feels like he's channeling, his almost like his 70s, like almost his 70s self, kind of in that Marvin Gaye, Tindy Pendergrass, like Al Green sort of. Like Don Glover is a very soulful brother, and you really get to see moments of that in here. It is very kind of Lando-esque in that way, because he's not as good as Jane at being a spy. He's definitely not, but he has this level of, admittedly, arrogance, but this level of self-assuredness that he is doing the right thing in these situations. And it's really interesting how him and Jane clash in those ways, because it really is a giant contrast of styles. He even says from episode 1, and God, this is such a mood. He flat out said, like, I think I'm always right. And as someone who very, very often thinks that he's right, I was sitting there going, oh yeah, man, I feel that. And I respect the shit out of him for laying that out pretty immediately. I think he says that like 20 minutes in. Like he's not being shy about it. But I absolutely love that. And then Jane has a cat that she brings into the house with her. I think their cat's name is I think it's Max. But yeah, the cat's fucking wonderful. Fucking love that cat. And one thing that this show does, I think, expertly, is that it uses the guest stars to go ahead and enhance the show, but they never steal the show. Like they definitely are adding more to the show without taking away from it, because you go, oh, it's that person. John Turturro shows up in the first episode playing this this very eccentric billionaire, and they have to go ahead and get some information out of him, and they end up going ahead and injecting him with truth serum. And the way that mission completely falls apart, you're just like, oh fuck, this is bad. And it's one of those things where it's the first episode and they already have this mission go incredibly wrong. And something that because I asked people, I was like, do they do this in the original? And they're like, no, they don't. One thing I like about this show is that you know very little about the agency. You know that there are multiple spies throughout the world, and that's really all you know about the agency. And they give you a little bit more as the show goes on, but they do a really good job of keeping the mystery up as far as the agency is concerned. And then I really like the fact too that John and Jane are brought in by the same agency as opposed to being rivals. So they're just, so they're not just trying to kill each other right away. But you obviously know that it, and I'm saying this based on the trailer, so it's not a spoiler, but we have to get there. We have to get to the point where they do hate each other. And pardon me. And one thing that I found myself really sad about is how they got there. The journey of them starting to hate each other, it really is like a relationship, and every episode kind of takes that stance. They start off like first episode like, all right, Jane goes no sex, and I love John, Donald Glover's John. He's kind of like, oh well, now all I'm thinking about is having sex with you now. Like it's and he's saying it in jest, but at the same time it is kind of that, oh well, we said sex isn't on the table, so now that's all I'm fucking thinking about. And so as they go ahead and start developing feelings for each other, you do feel it and you go like, damn, that's so sweet, but also, oh, this is gonna go ahead and end really badly. And it really is tragic in the way that it shows how a relationship can be so fun and so pure. And you have that, those blinders on when you first see someone, and maybe you're just ignoring, giant red flags because you're so happy that you're, that you're just with someone, maybe not even this person in particular, but the fact that they have to play a married couple in order to go on these missions, where's that line between spy and real? And the show's constantly changing those expectations as far as based on, what sort of mission they're on. There's a point where they're at a ski lodge and Jane flat out calls John out for being jealous. And, he plays it off like, oh, I'm not jealous at all. And it's like, nah, dude, you are jealous, and you just don't want to admit it. But again, that happens sometimes when you fall too quick, or it's really interesting, the juxtaposition that you get between the two of them as they're trying to just figure all of this out. And what's so fascinating is that because they're spies and they're figuring it out in real time, like you feel like you're in on their relationship. There is an episode where they meet another pair of another John and another Jane, and that episode in particular is where my heart just kind of went, wow, they're in completely over their heads. Like even Jane, they have this conversation pretty early on in the show where they're like, well, why did you take this job? And they kind of tell the reasons, and it's like, okay, you know what? Pardon me. But they're like, let's do this job until, we can basically have enough money to quit. And it's so hilariously ignorant to just go, oh yeah, the spy agency will totally just let you walk away, without potentially killing you. And it really is interesting as far as, what do you do for your job? What are you willing to do for your job? How much abuse are you willing to take for your job? and the show gets a lot deeper than I think a lot of people were expecting, myself included. I thought it would be a great show, but even I didn't think it would be that it would be this great. I love the way they get into these little nuances that they have about each other. You know, there's a point where they're talking about what they like about each other, and it's coming from such a genuine place that, again, your heart is just kind of breaking because you realize that this can't be the norm. Like, they're at some point they're going to go ahead and and snap, and it's quite tragic. There is this one scene, I won't tell you what episode, but it's later on the season. But there's an episode with Sarah Paulson, and she shows up as a marriage counselor for them. And that episode in particular is kind of where you go, pardon me again. That's kind of where you go, uh-oh, like this is not good. this is bad. And you really start to see the cracks really start to form there. And I will say, for me, with Glover, I think he's a very underrated dramatic actor, because, again, I think we think about Troy first and foremost, and then, you think about Ern. But Donald Glover has proven to be a hell of a dramatic actor. And when he needs to go ahead and get angry Donald Glover, I would compare to like angry Timothy Oliphant. Like, there's something scary about the two of them when they get pissed off, and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna just walk over here. I don't want to be around this this energy. And when they get mad at each other, it's scary. You remember when you were a kid, if you ever went to like your friend's house and the parents were arguing, and you were sitting at the dinner table and you just feel the tension, you just feel the energy being off. There's multiple moments like that near the end of the season where I just went, wow, this is bumming me out, but it's bumming me out in the best way. But Sarah Paulson, as I mentioned, she plays a marriage counselor, and she's so fucking great in that episode. And the way that all three of them go ahead and vibe off each other and are bouncing dialogue off each other, it really is just three fucking pros who get how this shit works, just knocking it out of the park. And it hits such a good rhythm, especially in that episode, that I found myself just having so much fun with the last half of the season. He's in the trailer, so it's not spoiling it, but Paul Dano's in here. And I will say, Paul Dano, between just 12 Years a Slave, There Will Be Blood, and The Fabelmans alone, the motherfucker is amazing. Obviously, if you throw in his Batman, his Riddler performance, he's fantastic in that as well. Fabelmans, of course, as I mentioned. But Dano is just such a naturally charismatic dude who you can always see being like a piece of shit. And the way that him and Glover interact in particular, I just found myself going, oh yeah, this is fucking fun. At the same time, I want to give it up to Maya Erskine too. She's amazing in this. She's sexy, she's charming, she's terrifying. There's a couple scenes where I was like, oh shit, okay, noted, don't fuck with you. But she's great, and she is as great as Glover is in this. And the last episode, where they're fucking each other's worlds up, there's a point where they have this just a very matter-of-fact conversation, and you can just feel how sad each of them is and how sad they are that their relationship has deteriorated into fucking shooting at each other. It's such a well done show, though, and I just kept finding myself constantly being surprised by it. The use of music throughout the show is really well done. The action, I haven't even talked about the action yet. Very much like the show. I think the show ramps up the more it goes on. The action in here, I think, is fucking great. There's a scene in particular at a ski lodge. Again, you'll know it when you get there. But that scene in particular, I thought was really, really amazing. The way the show starts off is fucking intense, and you can tell Donald Glover and everyone else involved, including Adama Ebo, um, who wrote on Atlanta as well, and was a director on Swarm, which makes a ton of sense. I haven't reviewed Swarm. I might review Swarm because Swarm deserves some love, as well as Dane Ebo. They're fucking great, but the way that the action is handled in here, it's not glamorous, and that's actually my favorite type of action. There is a coldness to this action where it's not, like Waka Waka, or it's not comic booky. It is very serious. It's very Barry-esque in that sense. And the way this episode, the way the series actually starts, the show does a great job of letting you know that we're not fucking around. Like, there are consequences in this world, and it feels heavy. Again, like it should. It should feel dark. It should feel heavy. You shouldn't be celebrating this violence at all. But it's a very, very intense show in a way that I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by. I haven't mentioned him yet, but Ron Perlman does show up, and his episode is fucking delightful. There's a great, I'd say maybe 10-minute, maybe even 15-minute chase scene in the episode that Ron Perlman is in that I thought was fucking excellent. It looks like everything was shot on location. It looks like, and the way that the cinematography on the show, I thought was absolutely top tier as well. I thought the action was great. And again, incredible chemistry between your leads. Like I said, they're both they're both sexy, they're both good looking, they're both fun, they're both charismatic, but they're both very flawed, quite frankly, dangerous people. And the more that you learn about Jean and Jane's personal lives that they left behind before they went ahead and got this job, the more you realize why they are the way they are and why certain things are coming to pass. And I just found myself really just enjoying this so much and having so much fun with it. As far as a grade, shit, I'm gonna go, man, because like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go fan-fucking-tastic on this. So I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I really don't have a complaint. I hope there's a season 2. I pray there's a season 2 because I thought this season was, again, such a surprise. But where things end up, I went, oh yeah, there's room for more of this if you want to go back and revisit it. So I'm hoping we get season 2. I believe Don Glover's next project outside of filming the Community movie, I believe, is Solo or the Lando movie, because apparently him and Stephen Glover are working on that. So I would hope Glover has enough time to come back to this. But I absolutely adored Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you don't like this, I don't know, y'all. There in a world where we've gotten a lot of bad spy shit. Like, if you haven't listened to my worst stuff yet, it's up on the channel now. But at least 2 of the films on my worst stuff were spy films that were put up by Apple TV. It's fucking crazy that they just seem to, like, Hollywood seems to be having such a hard time with the spy genre. I haven't even seen Argyle yet, and I've heard nothing but bad things about that from Nick over at the Afternoon Tune to some of my other friends who just said that it's absolute garbage. Nathan over at Mission Impossible, shout out to both of them. But yeah, apparently Argyle is shit too. So yeah, actually go ahead and make a good spy movie. That would be awesome. But I would say fan-fucking-tastic on this. I had an absolute blast with it, and I really enjoyed myself. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's 8 episodes. The episodes typically are about 50-ish minutes an episode. You can get through it in a day. But I had a blast watching this, and I actually look forward to watching this again. I might actually start over tomorrow with my partner. But yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, y'all, what'd you think of it? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of her. So streaming coming up. Let me talk about what I've got going on. So um on Friday the 15th, this Friday the 15th, I'm gonna be reviewing Earth Mama. Wait a minute. Wait, today's Tuesday. Wait, no. No, Friday the 16th. What am I talking about? Yeah, Friday the 16th. Pardon me. Friday the 16th, I'll be reviewing Earth Mama for the Black Cinema Showcase. I'm excited to review that. Sunday, I'm only reviewing one thing, and that is Malcolm X. I'll be reviewing that at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On Friday, when I review Earth Mama, that's going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. So look forward to seeing y'all then. And then next Monday, I'm figuring out the time, but I will have Brandon and Bradley back, which I'm excited for. Going to be reviewing Moon Girl and Double Dinosaur Season 2, as well as Watchmen, the HBO series. I'm really excited to review that. Next week, I'll have a review for some episode of Atlanta. I haven't decided which one yet. And then what else am I reviewing next week? I'm going to review Waves and The Last Black Man from San Francisco. And I'm going to have another review as well. The next couple weeks are going to probably be like 7 or 8-ish reviews. So going to have a lot for y'all. But yeah, as I mentioned, I'll be back on Friday, the 16th at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific to talk about Earth Mama. I might double up a review there, but if I do, I'll let y'all know. But thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great Valentine's Day tomorrow, as I mentioned. Thanks again for tuning in. And yeah, never forget, as always, to keep it real. Have a great day, everybody.